My name is Jason Marcus Torraunt. I am the author of the Conqueror of the Sun series. This video will give a basic summary of the story. Essentially, it's as condensed as I can do, and I'll put some disclaimers as well as explain why there's the need for disclaimers, I guess. The Conquer of the Sun series, the main series, is 5 books long, each averaging about 100 to 350 pages. There are also 2 prologue chronicle books that tell the background before book 1. Essentially, the Conquer of the Sun series is about a man named Sean Org that wants to conquer the world. As far as why he wants to do this, there are many of the typical reasons, as been told in other stories or in real life, but there's kind of a unique reason within my story that kind of only gets revealed in the 4th book. The image playing in the video is the flag version of the I.R.F. This is the organization that Sean Org originally creates to ultimately turn it into a nation, then empire. I.R.F. stands for International Rebellion for Freedom, and the series is about Sean Org and his I.R.F. trying to take over the world and essentially put the world under one world government and one flag. Now, the series takes perspective of essentially the bad guy's perspective. This is something that certainly is not wholly original and has been done before, but it definitely seems like it's rarely done. And this is something that I definitely wanted in my story, although I can't even really say if that was a completely conscious effort. But definitely turned out that way. One of the things that I want to do with this story and this series is basically to do something different, and being as that I was a literature major at university, I'm well aware of a lot of the works, especially the classics is what I kind of focused on. And there's that saying that there's only, 7 different kinds of stories. And I'm not the only one that's ever written a book. So there's lots of stories out there. I wanted to do something different, not for the sake of being different, but why just repeat and recycle kind of things that have been done in storytelling. So the bad guy perspective is a huge part of the series. And essentially the book is looking at it from the point of view of Sean Org and the I.R.F. And it basically looks at it in a good light because it's meant to be from their perspective. Now, as I mentioned, there was a couple of disclaimers that I want to mention about my series, or those that want to get into the series. I don't want to reveal any spoilers, but another thing that I really wanted to do in my story was, even in fiction, there seems like some writing or some topics or themes that people essentially refuse to touch. And I, especially being, in my opinion, I, I essentially consider myself a free speech absolutist. So I think, especially in terms of fiction, there should be nothing uh, that's off the table. Anything should be talked about or discussed um, in storytelling, fictional storytelling, and literature. So there's definitely some likely to other people's opinions to be some very controversial parts of the story. Uh, there's definitely a lot of taboos in the story, which those that read the story will find that basically I did it in a very unabashed fashion. Um, so readers should keep that in mind, but it's done intentionally, as I've mentioned in some other videos. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad is very analogous to my series. So that is what one reader should expect when reading the Conqueror of the Sun series. There, the entire series, besides the quote bad guy perspective, there's a lot of other things that happen throughout the story. I would have to say the main thing is, there's, of course, in a story of conquering the Earth, there's going to be battle scenes, but there is also, quote, romance scenes as well. The story is also about, not just about war and destruction and death, but love as well, as cliched as that might sound. Um, and one of the biggest things that I like about stories and what I've heard from a lot of other people is character interaction. So there's a lot of that. The conquering the world plot is more a background kind of story. The focus is definitely on characters and their interactions with others. So if you like that kind of story, this is might be good for you. Essentially, and granted, it is a five main book series with two prologues. There's almost something in the story for everybody. Action sequences, love sequences, drama sequences. So it's really hard to sum up the whole story, other than what I've mentioned before, being like Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Um, I think that'll do it for this video. Um, and the next video, I will go into even more in depth about some of the plot points. But that's it for this video.